I'm putting down the notebook. I've been busy. Very busy. See, it's dark enough that you can't see, so I'm just going to show you how freaking busy I've been designing thing after thing after thing. Circuit boards mostly. Lots and lots of circuit boards. Putting it down. I'm putting it down. Right, I'm putting it down. I'm just gonna find my place where I was. Just gonna get back. Just gonna get back to where I was and find my place. And I'm not gonna pick up a pencil and start drawing more. Okay. How's it going, Mr. Conway? And who was that? Relic. Oh. It's the river Jezebel. So yeah. If anybody can think of something about the size of 2 stacks of quarters that would be nifty to have on your cell phone or in your cell phone, let me know. So far we've got extra camera, extra storage, extra card readers, HDMI, video out, a PNP USB port. I don't have a light on. It's like the darkness has covered me. Oh, okay. Darkness has entered my knee and it hurts. Oh, the darkness has turned into arthritis. What the hell's going on here? Going with the thing. I don't know what's going on here. So, proper flashlight. I was thinking about I might as well make one of those separately. No, I can't give it away. The extra camera has that covered. So the thing comes with a default camera and a little camera module, but I have these 2 bigger expansion bays that are like yay big, and I wanted to make like a full zoom camera on there. So put a pretty inventive light on that. I'm not going to go into details. How I get all this to work and be modular while still being thin as fuck. Somebody's like already disappeared. Anyways, how I get all this to work while still being thin. That's the part that I'm really proud of. Okay. While also not just making it a fast device. And I'm just going to refer to it now as a device because it's become so much more than a phone. It's the last piece of technology you'll ever buy. Like, the only thing you'll ever need to do is just buy, like, big screens, sound systems and shit. You can just use this thing for everything. I really, 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 really wish I could get in touch with Microsoft because the military applications. Mwah. Then again, the general efficiency of my design process is usually conducive to military applications. So anyways, today has been a big freaking news day. That's for sure. I've been starting to think, like, don't these people fucking know what will happen if they just let the status quo as it stands at this point remain unchecked? Don't they know what will happen if we keep running around like a chicken with its head cut off? Don't you think we know what's going to happen with the motherfuckers who cut the head off and are sitting there with it hanging in their hands taunting us? Seems like Ukraine knows. Seems like Theresa May might even know. Seems like Macron knows. Seems like GM and Ford know. I'm like not even understanding my own background. What the hell is back? Smoke look bitching with that right there. Like, what the hell is that? Do I have something hanging there? Oh no, it's just my crappy paneled ceiling with its little, you know. What do you call those things? What do you call the shit they put in between sheetrock and when they're too lazy to do stucco, you know? Fuck. Yep, spackling just take too much effort. I used to love spackling when I was a kid. Who the hell thinks spackling is hard? Just spackle the fucking cracks in the damn sheetrock. This place is so annoying. Anyways. So, anyways. I would think at this point, with what's come out today about Trump Tower, and what I've said for a long time is all this shit about the meeting with the Russian lawyer in Trump Tower, and even the Assange shit, okay? Even the WikiLeaks stuff, okay? That's all active measures. That's just baiting the investigators around. That's baiting the reporters around. Oliver Stone. Oh, fucking really, Oliver. Roger fucking Stone. uh, I actually saw that. I actually watched that one. I don't hardly watch any of these videos anymore, but I watched that one where I sat there and said, Oliver Stone, right? Yeah, Oliver Stone. No. Well, like Oliver Stone, Roger Stone is not my kind of guy. Okay, he's not a data specialist. He's not somebody whose purpose when hired or involved in something is to find and spread information. Okay? He, like Oliver Stone, is a theatrist. Nothing more. Yeah, he knew. Yeah, the Assange, it's technically true. But do you think for a second they needed to do that? With such a high profile person like him? No. No. Just no. You've fucking lost your minds if you're actually taking this seriously. It's active measures. It's a bait trail. These people are leading the investigators around. Was the meeting about Russian adoption? Or was it about dirt on the Clinton campaign? No. It was about getting us to talk about the meeting. Their collusion, their coordination, their hate for this country that is so mutual, and their love for money that trumps all, goes back decades. And the specific coordination behind the assault on our democracy that took place over the past 2 years actually took place long before that. Because that assault that you think has only been going on for 2 years has been going on for a lot longer than that, too. And if you want to know how far it goes back, first you need to understand how somebody maintains power the way Putin does. And you're thinking of mafia and corruption and all these interesting data points, but you're not getting to the point that they all lead to, which is that the way someone maintains power over a power-based society, as in the reason why somebody who's bigger and stronger or whatever than Putin hasn't killed him yet is because of his planning ability. He would not have risen to power through the KGB to be head of the horde, basically. He's not just head of Russia anymore. Understand that. He's subjugated Chechnya, which is the Golden Horde land, and he's subjugated Kazakhstan, and he's more than won the allegiance of Mongolia and Manchuria. Okay? So he is the great Khan, basically. Okay? And he's been that for 20 years. His rise to power was based on that plan. He was implementing it before he even got to the top. And it's why he got to the top. So to understand really what's going on here, you got to look all the way back to what Trump and his connections to the Kremlin were doing in 1999. First, you need to really understand what happened in the past 2 years and see how it stretches to the past 4 years directly into the propaganda around the Ukraine conflict. Because if you do that, you find data points that lead you straight back to pretty much one focused point of events. That all the propaganda networks that Russia has been using to disseminate anti-American hysteria and psychosis for the past 20 years it all started with ufology, and then it came to a peak with Alex Jones' 9/11 trutherism. Now, before I get into the whole Alex Jones never mentions the fact that Donald Trump and Larry Silverstein are such good friends. Let's talk about how it hasn't just been the international instigation of extremism on a particular religion. Let's talk about religion in this country instead. Because it's all too plain to see how the Soviet Union, I mean, they wrote a book about it, okay? They wrote a book about how they would use Islamic extremism to take down the United States. Okay? So it's all too plain to backtrack how we go from these propaganda networks, how to relate Russian hysteria, accusing us of being secretly behind terrorist attacks, to their coordination of the rise of Islamic extremism to begin with, and their training and equipping of these fucking people. That'll take you right to Trump Tower in New York City. But you might not have the balls to take that little trek. I suppose I can understand that. October 2015. That's how long they've been talking about Trump Tower Moscow. Okay. What were the Russians, the Russians, the fucking Russians doing in October of 2015? Was there anything, say, that might make it a little bit treasonous to begin with for any American businessman to want to just go ahead and fucking kiss Putin's ass by offering him a fucking penthouse suite in your new Trump Tower in Moscow? Can anybody think of anything in October of 2015 that was happening that might qualify anyone in America who decided to side with Putin as a traitor? Maybe not, we're not technically at war with him, okay? But you might have noticed Ukraine, Syria, and if you want to make the argument that Syria only happened and Ukraine only happened because Obama was weak, you're a fucking idiot. And I can't help but to be violently angry at someone so incompetent as men, such failures as human beings, to have not kept track of the situation in real time well enough to believe that shit after the fact when it's trumpeted by Fox News. But I'm not in the mood to fucking teach children how to breathe at the moment. I've taught that over and over again. The Republicans fucking stopped Obama from taking action in Syria. The fucking Russians came in there with AS-400 fucking missile launchers. Our military could then do nothing about fucking Syria. I mean, was anybody at any time suggesting Obama start World War III? Oh, wait. The Republicans were, by saying that he should fucking overtly arm the Ukrainians. You know who else wanted to start World War III? Putin. Don't think for a second Putin does not want this war. He just doesn't want to start until he knows he can win it. For sure. I mean, the destabilization process has gone pretty well. And right now we are Germany in 37, basically. But then again, if you're not Mexican or Arabic or black, you might not know that. And nobody really saw this coming. Because frankly, it wasn't until this Russian propaganda epidemic fucking came out that anybody really gave a shit in the South about Jews. But now, really? Anti-Semitism is a thing in America now? Like, I remember the skinheads in Houston. There were, like, jokes about Jews. But nobody gave a fuck about Jews. Nobody was like, oh no, they killed Jesus. Not like... They control the media. Well, good. They're fucking funny. You know, like. Anyways. Tell you what. Let's talk about that, for instance. I don't debate that there is an anomalous proportion of people of Jewish descent in national television, news, that kind of thing. Okay? But what you dumb motherfuckers never asked yourselves was why? Why? When you ask yourself why another human being does something, the only way to find that answer is to put yourself in their shoes. Okay. Their shoes. They, like my family, are fucking, business people, investment people, people who like to teach their children about their traditions and religion. Okay. Generally speaking, hardworking people. They're either, business people or tradespeople, generally speaking. They've had a skilled and refined culture throughout thousands of years. So, 100 years ago, when Hitler fucking killed 6 million of them, and, it's debatable not whether it was actually German commanded troops that were doing all of it, but you have Russian, Polish, Ukrainian, Uzbek, Kazakh, and God knows where else. Basically just Jewish pogroms, just massive murderings of fucking millions and millions, like 20 million total fucking Jews died in 20 years, okay? And the reason they died, anybody know? Propaganda. Active measures. Yeah. The same shit that we see against Hillary Clinton and George Soros led to the deaths of millions. But I'm the bad guy for standing up. Thanks for suppressing me, YouTube. So if you were them, if you were the Jews, just in general, if you were one Jewish family talking to another Jewish family, you both had money, you're in this country, you're safe now, you're talking to other Jews who've been in this country for fucking 100 years or whatever. They'll go to synagogue together, right? And you're telling stories about the fucking posters and the radio, the shit they were saying on the radio, driving these people to hate Jews. And a lot of them, some of them, might have even seen how it built up into that. You know, that thing that we don't seem to see nowadays. Oh, it's building up into that. So then when it came to their conversations with their new neighbors and their family and other people trying to start businesses, they didn't go and set up a bunch of new banks. A couple of them did. They didn't go make shoes. printing presses, machinery, weapons, lots of different trades, lots of different Jews had. What they got together and decided to do was make sure that 20 million of them didn't get fucking murdered again. Isn't that what you would have done? So they got into movies, music, news, television, radio, everything that was used against them. So now, tell me that the Jews control the media with hatred in your heart. Tell me you wouldn't do the same fucking thing. Tell me you wouldn't hope that if the Christians were killed in one fucking continent, when they got to another continent, they would buy their asses some news stations and make sure that people heard good things about them. But what do I know? It's not like I have some power through which mankind should be forgiven and redeemed. Who'd have thunk it? Fucking back. Anyways. You see, when I talk about revisiting history, when I talk about how far back we need to go, and that it's not just the direct, connection between Alex Jonesian propaganda, Donald Trump's real estate purchases, and Russian activities regarding propaganda and terrorism, and how it all connects. That is, at this point, irrelevant, except for the fact that these fucking people need to be drawn and quartered in a public square. I'm just saying. But otherwise, the lessons we can learn from this are all but being learned anyways, okay? Aside from, this big thing that I suppose would just lead everybody to thinking that Donald Trump was involved in 9/11 eventually when they notice just the pattern of bullshit that precedes it. Russia has been behind Islamic jihadism for 50 years. Plus, or should I say, plus. But get past the geostrategic part of it. Because knowing that isn't going to do you any good until you know what the fuck you need to do about it. Russia already knows what we need to do about it, which is why they have active measures trying to prevent us from taking those kinds of actions. Ooh, it's raining. Cigarettes here. like, that's for damn sure. I'd like to thank Maximo for sending $20 or $30. Wife picked up some food, fish and chips. And I was all happy and excited, looking forward to eating fish and chips. I was even singing the song, fish and chips and vinegar, 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 fish and chips and vinegar. And the oldest prepared it and used way too much salt. I don't even know where the hell what did she even use the salt on? I think she salted the pan. Maybe she made a pan out of salt. I don't know. But good God, like, I felt like I was eating a laxative. Like, holy crap. But I did get to eat, so that's good. Been choking down the dry cereal for a few days now. And, yeah. Tomorrow's payday. Which is good, because the fucking loan place just called me today and told me our payment bounced a week ago. We have till tomorrow at 5 p.m. to get that shit straight. Well, there we go. The power went out. What do you think? I'm just gonna magically keep the damn live stream going every time that happens? Jeez, give me a break. Don't put your muck in my dustbin, my dustbin, my dustbin. Don't put your muck in my dustbin, my dustbin's full. Hi there. Welcome back. We had a power out. Got the power to turn right back on, but the connection went stale. So, how are you? It's like, I don't even hear any thunder or anything, just a little sprinkle and fucking power flicked. Yep, I got the speaker one done. I think that would be a cool feature. In fact, you could have a pair of them since there's 2 slots. But I wound up getting a lot more simple yet complicated. I don't know. Elegantly refined. yet lacking complexity, actually, to the cooling system by integrating it into the structure on the other side of the waterproofing. So kind of the heat sinking and the casing and the cooling and the waterproofing is all one piece. Anyway, I'm just all up in the cell phone right now. I'm so sorry. The notebook's right over there. Looking at it. Okay. Oh my God, my television turned on the first try. That's just crazy. It's like where's Ashton Kutcher? Like, hold up now. I've spent fucking, was it an hour and a half once? Just turn on. Turn on. Get the little red light. When it turns on, it goes blue. But this one, you turn it on, and it goes off. And then it turns back on again, red. You hit the power button again, and it goes off. And then an hour later, or 5 minutes later, there's no way to know, it actually turns blue and you can fucking watch TV. I know, America, what a country. It's an American-made TV. I can't hate too much on this company, though. They do all right. I've got a good bit of their conglomerate products. I'm pretty sure. I never checked this. I'm going by the location and the similarity of logos. That Element Electronics is the same, at least manufacturing facility, or holds something in common with the Current USA lights. Because not only do their logos look the same, but for some reason, my remote for the lights was affecting the TV, and vice versa. I just figured they had common parts or something. But anyway, that's something that I suppose a new company would be prone to. Trying to keep costs low and not learning the lessons that come with statistical analysis that most multi-platform manufacturers would have. But then again, most multi-platform manufacturers have gotten around that by including everything in one fucking unit to begin with. And then they'll just give you a universal remote. So maybe that had become a lost art form by the time these people got around to this. I don't know. Whatever. I'm having fun speculating. But, I've never had so much fun designing anything. I can't show you this page. Like, if you back this up and see the shadows, and you can understand anything I have there, good luck. But I am just not giving this away. First, I had to design a computer this big. this big. Based upon experience taking apart, I don't know, maybe 5 different cell phones. When one of my cell phones dies, that sucker's coming apart. It's coming apart. I want to at least see if I can figure out what the hell went wrong with it, you know? May not be able to fix it. I want to at least just try. And you know, I used to be certified to fix Dell laptops. Huh? So I know what a ribbon cable is. And really, inside of a phone, man, it's basically just a tiny little laptop. It's a smaller version of all the same, well, actually just less of the same shit. It's actually less complicated in some ways. And I had to go and fuck all that up by designing this thing. This is beyond complicated. This is downright intricately nuanced and shit. Okay. Underneath, the challenge was making the user side diggity proof. You know? So basically, you know those little wooden boxes with like the triangle and the circle and the square? If you got that, you got this. Like, oh, how do I upgrade my phone? That's shaped like this. Okay, I'm done. It's there. It's actually easier than changing a battery. But like I said, it's a fucking matter of genius as far as circuit board design goes to get it thin enough. But it wasn't enough for me to just be able to plug shit into that. I wanted to figure out how much different shit I could plug this into to make it run. Yeah? Consider that. Because what you have here is something that can replace a tactical computer. It can replace a vehicle computer. It could operate as a data server. It could operate as a game console. I think a set of walkie-talkies would be kind of cool. Like just a little walkie-talkie, like you and your wife, or like you and your friend, your neighbor, or something. Actual physical walkie-talkie bits. That'd be cool. I'm gonna stop talking about this now. I'm gonna stop talking about this. Because the point of this broadcast is to discuss the why. Why did it work? Why do we lose to what, if you're a Christian, you would agree, is a logically inferior faith. That is, the merits of the faith itself, doctrinally, are not logical compared to the merits of Christianity. Now, it is my right to discuss this. But because I discussed this, apparently that's the excuse that YouTube uses to keep everyone from benefiting from all my other wisdom. And they can't argue with me. So they send fake people here to leave the broadcast at strategic times to show up on data log reports as a legitimately suppressed broadcast because, well, nobody likes them. We like Russian propagandists more. And I'm not the person on here saying all Muslims are evil and Muslim is an evil religion. No. Muslims mostly are just fucking people. Okay? People come in all shapes and sizes. And it is my right and responsibility as a Christian to say God is not a conqueror, God is not a thief, God is not a liar. God is loving and forgiving. God is faithful and true. And to me, that is a superior faith, and that is a superior God. Because I don't care how wonderful somebody is at doing all kinds of shit. If somebody wants to say they're the real God, there's some things they just would not do. Oh, yes. Of course, I'm prepared to make all the nuanced arguments against every pre-programmed bit of propaganda that could possibly enter anyone's mind at that point in the conversation, but I'm just going to move on and stop having fucking hypothetical arguments with myself. Because we need to talk about the actual implications of what's gone on in this country, okay? We need to talk about, much like this fake nonsense that they have going on with me. Like old boy showing up yesterday with fucking different screen names, trying to pretend to be new people. And I was just waiting for the stupid fucking flat earth comment to come out of his mouth, or fingers, or whatever. Whatever he sticks in his little brother's butthole. I mean, what? Too harsh? Sorry, I've been watching like roast reels and shit. I'm sorry if I offended him. I didn't know he was Catholic. I mean, anyway. So what we got to get over really quick is this phobia of interfering with religion when it comes to intentionally malicious foreign influence on that religion. Now, this is as difficult to do as it is to see. But if you look at the effects of things, if you look at the patterns of where they come from, if you look at the strategic dissemination of certain pieces of information and how they act even historically, even if you have to look several years into the past or the future from that piece of information, there needs to be a line in the sand drawn from which we push back. The truth is what you're debating about, allowing the American people to have access to. Okay? So when it comes to these investigations, it's just not proper to sit there and debate whether or not the American people should be told this and that. It's not proper to say that we should not include this and that in these discussions. We need to trust that the truth is the truth. And if Russia is interfering with Fox News and CNN, we need to learn about that. If Russia is interfering with Christianity and Islam, we need to learn about that. They're worried about it appearing as though by arguing one point or the other, they're taking the side of one piece of information or the other, one religion or the other. You're just taking the side of the truth. And if the truth happens to be on the side of Christianity, sorry, it's the truth. But the fact of the matter is, there have been too many lies told about Christianity to where it's even going to be a big percentage. It's not even going to be a big worry. As far as the crusading and colonialism topics, those things need to be debunked. Those things need to be countermanded with truth. Not because it protects Christians, but because it protects America. Because it protects civil society. These are fake facts put here to divide us, because when people hate Christians, they're divided. When people like Christians, they're united. If more of them become Christians, That's not the government interfering. That's the truth having its way. But they sit there and act as though propaganda isn't propaganda just because it's oriented against Christianity. Now, Christianity, a religion which the Constitution says our government should protect from persecution, Christianity has been destroyed. And I'm not talking about Johanism, I'm talking about the Christianity that this church, that this nation was referring to when it said things like, God gave us inalienable rights, and in God we trust, and things like that. They were talking about the Judeo-Christian God. Okay? You know how I know that? Because they were a bunch of Jews and Christians. And when they were talking about separation of church and state, and they were talking about religious freedom, they were talking about practicing religions, they were talking about different denominations of Judeo-Christian faith, because it wasn't just Christians and Jews and a couple different types of Christians and Jews. There are a lot of proto-Islamic type faiths, obscure faiths, Mandeanism for one, Christians of St. John, a lot of them were called. Mormons, Methodists. Not everybody even knew what the other person was. They just knew they all believed in one God. The God who delivered their ancestors from slavery in Egypt. You see, there's another thing. The basic facts about Christianity. National Geographic was participating in an act of religious persecution when they said that every Christian throughout history was a moron for thinking Jesus looked the way he did. But you can just look back through anthropological history and political basic fucking history, and you can determine exactly what Christ more than likely looked like. And one might even be so bold as to make the conjecture that if he looked like what they said he looked like, he might not have been crucified. Yep, I wish I was in Europe, because I would have marched my ass in there and made some demands by now. But as far as going into a diocese, I'm too worried about local yokels being too ignorant and clueless and frankly not even connected. Anyways, we got to stop telling our teachers not to touch this shit with a 10-foot pole. And it's not about creation versus evolution, okay? It's about lies being told, posing as biblical truth, that don't reflect an understanding of why the Bible even exists. And I don't even mean on a deeper level like I talked about. I'm just talking about Old Covenant, New Covenant, okay? Jews were in the wilderness, they had the old law. They repopulated, the Messiah came. A lot of those old laws were canceled out by new laws. That was the fulfillment of the old law. Because when you're in harsh conditions, you're struggling towards something. You're trying to get to the point where you don't have to struggle anymore. That's what the new covenant was. It was the fulfillment. And the Jews who accepted Christ went from there and became part of the kingdom of heaven for 1,000 years. And by heaven, in that case, you'd be talking about Europe, Rome, heaven on earth. What it could have been anyways. But it wound up being a different kind of heaven. That isn't really understood as anything that could be perceived as heaven anymore. Because we're a bunch of soft little flowery bitches. We don't believe in reincarnation, so we fear death, and there's, not like charging armies of people with sticks and fucking axes and shit. So, it seems like an abnormal thing to fight, right? Used to be as normal as putting on your fucking shoes. In fact, why else would you really put on shoes? Yeah. I have that habit to this day. Whether or not I wear sandals or shoes is whether or not I might need to defend myself or others. Anyways. Yeah, flip-flops don't work very well. Unless you're an old Japanese woman. Anyway, just an old Asian woman. I don't know. Didn't mean to be tribalist. So, you know, we've finally came to a point where we need to just be real about what happened. Just be real about what we thought as a country. How we were bullshitted here and there. This and that. People actually considered the idea that God didn't exist at all for a while. Still, some people believe this, even though basically all the smartest scientists in the world have come to this paradox of informational consciousness. That is, if beings eventually evolve to where they can time travel or ascend to a higher plane of existence, then they would essentially be capable of going back in time and creating the universe to begin with. So that makes them, or at least one of them, effectively God. So, whether or not you believe that any one of these gods that people wrote down stuff about is actually that being or beings, collective or otherwise, science has acknowledged that some form of greater consciousness more than likely exists because of the ultimate culmination of technology and evolution. Looks like a ponytail. Oh, look, I got my ponytail back. Anyways. Dingo, stop licking your balls. To you too. And all I got to say about that particular line of logic, if a godlike something exists, if it exists without time, if some being exists without time and therefore would have had influence on the creation of the universe, at the very least on the progress of civilization, you know, like if that being existed, what would they say go back in time to do? How would they affect things? How would they affect history? How would they manifest themselves for our benefit? What principles would they abide by? Not just powers would they have, what limits would they set for themselves? Would they follow any sort of prime directive? Well, one need only go through history and correct what has been unlearned by the learning of propaganda, and you see a clear pattern that, oh yeah, there's at least 5 of these people. And these 5 people keep reincarnating. 2 of these 5 people seem to be a beneficial parent type couple. And 3 of them seem to be kind of dicks. One having a vastly different opinion than the 2 that agree. And that is that desire justifies itself. One disagrees in that he thinks superiority justifies itself. And one thinks that the ability to deceive others and use that deception to acquire leverage, whether financially, physically, or informationally, that power justifies itself. But there is a 6th being that they do not understand, and even a 7th that they are unaware of. Anyway. Now, what you might learn, if you're willing to accept the idea that people today aren't the most superior people that ever lived, is that in fact we have it backwards. Not that it really matters, but as far as this scientific speculation goes, it's not 5 beings from the future. It's 5 beings from the moment of creation, or from the day before creation. Stop leaning in like that. It's fucking causing shoulder cramps. Okay, I actually get to sleep tomorrow because I don't have any fucking kids to pick up from extracurricular activities and shit. So it's okay that I'm running out of cigarettes. Here we go again with this shit. Surely my wife is hiding a pack from me in the car. I don't know. I guess I'll just go get some if I have to. My fucking shoulders are killing me though. But anyways. If you look back through history and maybe if they learn about the non-particle nature of physics, maybe if that theory is correct, then it can be learned from it. That the universe itself, reality itself, is sort of a combination, manifestation of technological and biological ascension. And that somehow the human consciousness seems to be interwoven with the fabric of reality. And that reality itself was created and is, in some essence, an illusion. Then what do you get from history? Do you still get to mock people for thinking that the earth is 7,000 years old? But you go back and you see, if you read Genesis, what looks like a missing story that people are landed into. And then you see people who are named for their actions, for the fiber of their existence. They're named for that. And it starts to seem like, whether it came before or after, if you want to extrapolate into the distant future and say that biological, technological manifestation or ascension is going to cause us to exist without space and time and become capable of creating this holographic universe, then what you see is these reincarnating archetype souls seem to have been named back into the beginning. In this one bizarrely encoded compilation of scriptures and prophecies and histories and blah blah blah, letters and shit. So just ask yourself, if you were one of these creating beings, or if you were the most powerful, or if you were the one creating being, or if you were the collective of these creating beings, all of these forces balanced out, say, as one consciousness, would you try to come back and interact? Would you, if you were any one of these different things, pride, lust, deceit, come back and reincarnate and try to have your way throughout reality? Of course you would. Well, what religion, what book, what collection is there any? Are there any? Do we have any data that matches up to this description? Yeah, we have the Bible. And we have a lot of different ancient myths that when you put them all together, sounds a lot like some powerful creative beings were here in the beginning. Now, we can speculate all we want about the future, okay? But the fact of the matter is, I'm just pointing out that those who have found that God probably exists. Well, all you got to do is read about the past, and you can find out, yep, you're right. And just like that speculative God of the future, the real God of the past gave a shit and tried to guide people without making their choices for them. Anyways, that's all for now. I'm going to call it a broadcast. After I stretch my freaking back. Okay. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for hanging out, Mr. Conway. Let's see if we got any more stuff in the chats. Yeah. I agree. But let me just point this out about religion. First of all, religion and Christianity are kind of two different things. Okay? In essence, religion is Luciferian. It is prideful. Okay? Spirituality is humble. It is loveful. And what it all boils down to is that people who have beliefs can wind up justifying bad shit based on those beliefs. All they got to do is believe the wrong thing the wrong way. People who have ideas don't tend to get in so much trouble. Because even if an idea justifies something, it's just an idea. So then you write a joke about it or something. So it's better to just have ideas than beliefs. Now, your religion it's become sort of a defensive reaction to spirituality being under attack. But religion still needs to hang on to its spirituality in order to remain balanced, or else it's just going to be religion. Now, the thing that makes Christianity different from all other religions, and essentially not a religion, is that it's not based on dogma, it's based on compassion. It was supposed to be an end of superstitious justification for things and the beginning of logic and reason, of societal togetherness, learning from each other by sharing with each other. But more importantly, or just as importantly, I should say, the difference between the beliefs and the spirituality, the ideas of Christianity, is that the beliefs of Christianity are simply meant as historical lessons. All it is, Judeo-Christian religion, it's just a story about your past. We're supposed to be writing the story about the present. We're not supposed to be living in the past and trying to act like barbarians because we want to feel more righteous than somebody else. And for anybody to confuse Christianity with any such religion, you'd have to have your head filled with nothing but straw man arguments. So you might want to pull the clothes off the scarecrow and see what the hell he's really made of. Because he's been bullshitting us for a long, long time. One side and the other. Having us at each other's throats. Inside and out. Making us doubt ourselves. My spiritual beliefs are Christian. But if I had to put a word to my religion, as far as what I act like I know is true, the dogma by which I live my life, I am an American. Y'all take it easy. Like and subscribe and all that bullshit. Peace.